What is up, Janksters? It's your boy Graham, also known as HamHawks42 on the internet, and I want to give a huge thank you to Wizards of the Coast for providing me with this preview card for Dominaria Alchemy. Dominaria United Alchemy, that is. This is an honor for me as a content creator. This is my very first preview card, so thank you. And of course, I am going to give it the overthinking MTG treatment. I'm going to take a look at it and provide information about it, see kind of how it fits into the greater Magic ecosystem, as well as how you may want to play it. Now, this is an alchemy only card. This is just for digital, so keep that in mind. If you're a physical paper player and you don't play on Arena, I'm sorry, you can't get your hands on this one. And you're gonna see why. Mechanically, that makes sense. But for folks who do play Arena, who specifically in Alchemy or Historic, I think this card actually has some uses, and we're gonna get into that a little bit. So without further ado, it is my distinct privilege to present to you Blood Sprout Talisman. Now, if you're familiar with the word talisman in MTG, it being a 2-mana artifact that somehow helps you cast your spells quicker, fits. It absolutely fits. But this is not your normal mana rock. This is an artifact for black-green. It enters the battlefield tapped, and you can tap, pay 1 life, choose a non-land card in your hand. It perpetually gains. This spell costs 1 less to cast. So it is kind of working like a mana rock in that if you have a 4-drop in your hand on turn 3, and you've hit all your land drops and you want to cast that 4-drop, you can tap Bloodsprout Talisman. You do have to pay 1 life, and it reduces the cost of that 4-drop to a 3-drop, so you can then play it. Okay, great. So, worst case scenario, the floor on this card is it's a mana rock that pings you when you use it. Which, alright, maybe that's not great. However, this card has a lot of upside that I think is just an absolute... I'm looking forward to... It's a delight. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on this for a number of different reasons. Note that it perpetually reduces the cost of that spell. Because this is a perpetual modification, if that spell gets bounced back to your hand, if it's a permanent, or if it's in your graveyard and you get a chance to flash it back, or cast it, bounce it back to your hand in one way or another, the cost reduction sticks around. So if you have a 3-drop, for example, that you hit with this, you cast it out, maybe it goes to your graveyard, you then recur it to your hand, you can pay for 2 instead of 3 again, without having to tap the talisman anymore. That's awesome. And throughout the game, the talisman can impact a number of different cards that can interact in this way. So if your deck is giving you different types of recursion or giving you an opportunity to recast spells, this can get you, for even 1 activation of this, can save you 2, 3, 4 mana or even more over the course of a game. That's really, really cool. The first card that I thought of with this was a Sararak from Adventures in the Forgotten Realm. Now, because this is a digital-only card, and that card just recently cycled out of Standard and Alchemy, this is going to be for Historic only. But in Historic, with a Bloodsprout Talisman, if you activate it twice, targeting a Sararak in your hand, you now have a creature that you can play out for 1 black mana that bounces itself back into your hand and allows you to venture through the dungeon. So for every black mana you have, you can just speed run through Phandelver or the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. That's pretty cool. So you better believe I'm going to be taking advantage of that. Another interesting use for this are adventures. Cards with adventures on them are actually 2 spells on 1 card. So this will reduce the cost of both of those spells. So when you cast the instant or sorcery for the adventure card, whatever that may be, it's going to cost 1 less. And then later, when you decide to take that spell that you cast previously and then cast that out as a creature, the reduction will apply again. So in the case of adventures, Bloodsprout Talisman is effectively reducing the cost by 2 over both spells. So that's pretty darn neat. This also works great with ninjas. So if you have like a Sultai Ninja deck, for example, which is an archetype I've definitely played with, it's really cool because now all of a sudden your 2-drop ninja enablers, like 2-drop flyers, become 1-drop flyers because you're going to be bouncing them back to your hand repeatedly. So that's pretty neat. Needless to say, I think this card has a lot of play. It has a lot of interesting use cases and ways that you can take advantage of this new approach to mana ramp that I think is pretty neat. And it only works in a digital environment because of the nature of Alchemy. So if Alchemy is not your jam, I completely understand. But if it's something that you do want to get into, that you do think is fun, or you've been having fun playing it while everybody else has been, doing Standard and Explorer, we got a new toy. And I'm looking forward to giving this a shot. I think it's a lot of fun. Also, massive props to the folks at Wizards for landing on my favorite color combination for my preview. Golgari is like, I love it. I can't get enough of it. So thank you so much again, Wizards, for this preview. It is an absolute honor. And everybody, I will catch you on the next one.